Good morning, everyone. Now that it's 10 o'clock, we will begin our Take a Stand for Caregivers for the month of February. Today, we are going to be talking about Love Your Heart for Seniors, and our presenter is Kim Smith from Right at Home. Miss Carlette Smith from HR Options Solutions. We want to thank her for providing our CEUs today. You can email Miss Carlette at hro@humanresourceoptions.com. Some CEU housekeeping rules that we will go over today include all evaluations need to be sent to humanresourceoptions.com. Your information submitted should be listed as it is recorded at your licensing board, home address, and personal cell phone number, not your business address. Evaluations must be submitted within 24 hours after the class, no exceptions. If not submitted within the time frame, no certificate will be provided. For those who are sharing a room to view the meeting, each person does need to register for the class, complete the class evaluation, and note in the chat box to the hostess of the meeting that you are in a group. We want all attendees to receive their CEUs. If you're phoning in and not through Zoom, please identify your phone number that you called from to cross-reference. Anyone who has not registered their name or phone number is not on the Zoom report and cannot receive a certificate. The Alabama Aging Network operates in 67 counties across the state. The Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, or M4A, is one of 13 local area agencies on aging. Overall mission of the Area Agency on Aging is to age in place within the community. It is noted that 90% of adults age 65 and older want to stay at home. The Aging and Disability Resource Center, or ADRC, includes it serves a single point of entry to long-term care services and support, empowers people to make informed decisions about their long-term care supports and services through. You can call 1-800-AGE-LINE to be connected to your local AAA. Some of the programs that are served here at M4A and other area agencies on aging include nutrition services, caregiver support, Alabama Cares, medication assistance, insurance counseling, senior employment, legal assistance, elder abuse prevention, and long-term care support. I would lastly like to promote our Community Fraud Summit this year. It will be on March 15th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Jemison Municipal Complex Auditorium. And to register, there is a QR code or through the M4A Ticket Leap link that is listed here on this flyer. And lastly, to receive your CEUs, again, this website, humanresourceoptions.com. I will also provide Miss Carlette's email in the chat box below. Now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Kim Smith from Right at Home.
Hello, I hope everyone is doing well. Today is Heart Month, or this month is actually Heart Month. Heart awareness. I think it's so important as Americans. When I saw the statistics on heart disease, I was shocked by it. So we're going to go through Love Your Heart. The objectives today are heart health. How important is a healthy heart? Impact of heart attacks to the patient, caregiver, and healthy choices. And then we'll recap at the very end. So let's just go right through it. So heart. A normal heart size is the size of a clenched fist. The heart has two sides, a top and a bottom. It has four parts. It has an electrical current that controls the heartbeats, the pulse. And did you know on average how many beats a normal heart beats per day? Would it shock you to know that 100,000 beats per day on average? And I was shocked to hear that 35 million times in a year, which we'll go over, and then 2.5 billion in a lifetime. So again, did you know that 2.5 billion times in a lifetime? The heart is a healthy muscle at the center of your circulation system, and it's responsible for pumping blood that carries O2, or oxygen, hormones, fuel, cells, and more throughout the body, and then carries away waste products and unwanted carbon dioxide. And we all know that. Just a refresher, back in our days of when we went to school and we had to learn all the different parts of the heart during health classes throughout our lifetime in elementary school to high school and on, if you're in the medical field. It's hard to imagine how much the heart does if you really think about it. And then also, think about this. If you had a tennis ball, and usually when I do this talk and it shows my face, I'll get a tennis ball out. If you take the tennis ball and you give it a good squeeze, that's how the heart works, with the same force, if that's not crazy enough. So I'm going to go over some stats, and we'll go over some heart disease, but not all of them. I am shocked to know that 20% of heart attacks are silent. I actually thought the numbers were a little bit higher. 18.2 million Americans aged 20 and older with coronary artery disease, which, y'all, this is all American adults. Half American adults have some form of cardiovascular disease. To me, that's a chronic condition, something that we have got to look at, and we'll go through lifestyle changes and that kind of thing. It is the #1 leading cause of death for men and women in the US. And I will tell you, when I was in my hospice days, cardiovascular disease, you know, some of the hospice people that I talked to way back in the days, it was cancer, but I will tell you that the #1 admission when I worked in hospice was some form of heart disease, heart failure, whatever it was. 647K numbers of Americans who die from heart disease each year. And 80% of preventable cases of heart disease and stroke, 80% can be prevented by lowering your cholesterol if you have high cholesterol, stress, diet, exercise. We'll go over all of that. It can help by 4 to 20% at most. So it's important to talk to your doctor about if you have any of the following, and we'll go through it, the risk factors. But for example, like if you smoked or were a heavy smoker or are a heavy smoker, if you're like my husband, and he gets so mad at me every time I do these talks because I talk about him. His vegetables consist of macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes and gravy. So if your diet is such, it might be something to talk to your doctor about. Of course, we'll go through all of this. High cholesterol, lifestyle. You could have high stress. Genetics can play a part. If you have a family history of someone that, and it's pretty, you know, you can kind of trace it back. Like I do have heart disease in my family. My father did not have it, but his father passed away at 58. So that is something that we look at with my doctor, and eventually he will refer me over to a cardiologist just to kind of give me a checkup here and there and make sure, due to my genetics, because we do have a significant side on my father's side. Could be demographics, heavy alcohol use, diabetes, hypertension, like I said, the diet, plaque buildup, chemotherapy, thyroid disease, obesity, congestive heart failure, heart valve disease, and high blood pressure. So if you look at the risk factors on the left-hand side, 6 risk factors for heart disease. So high blood pressure can make blood vessels stiff. The result, reduced blood flow and oxygen to the heart and to the body overall. High cholesterol, like we talked about, having high levels of that low density, that LDL or bad cholesterol creates plaque buildup in your arteries. Obesity, carrying excessive weight forces your heart to work harder, which can lead to high blood pressure and coronary artery disease. Diabetes, type 1 and 2 diabetes limit your blood's ability to maintain a healthy level of glucose, which can damage the heart. And then smoking and vaping, lighting up can alleviate heart rate lightening up, narrow blood vessels, and ultimately lead to dangerous blood clots. So I say just say no. If you are smoking or vaping, talk to your doctor about how can you, what kind of programs and services do they see out there that could help you. Stress, that is another big one. Stress can onset a disease process. Stress can onset a heart issue. Stress that, and everybody says, well, if you're an American, you have some form of stress. And we'll go over some techniques to deal with stress. I'm not saying to alleviate it 100%, but I'm saying, you know, that is a lifestyle choice that we can choose to react to the stress, or we can choose to go over some of the things we'll go over soon on how do we handle stress. So cardiovascular disease, 1 in 3 deaths, more than 859,000 people each year, cost of $216 billion. Healthcare system cost at $147 billion, and lost productivity in jobs and premature deaths. So as we age, of course, so does our body, unfortunately, not just externally, but internally in our organs as well. So age 65 and older, we do have a higher risk of heart attacks, stroke, heart failure, coronary artery disease, with heart disease, and broken heart syndrome is another one. So we will keep going. Try not to be the doom and gloom today, just kind of giving an overview. I think it's important for us to talk about heart health, have education. I say the day that we don't have education is the day we are no longer on this earth. I think it's very important to get recaps. I know sometimes, like I talked about, we've had this in school, and maybe it might be good as a refresher for you guys. So we're going to go over some heart diseases, not all of them, but we're going to go over coronary heart disease, stroke, peripheral artery disease, and aortic disease. So coronary artery disease, it is the most common heart condition. It is where it struggles to send enough blood, oxygen, and nutrients to the heart muscle. Cholesterol deposits like plaque in the heart arteries and inflammation are usually the cause of coronary artery disease that build up. When the heart doesn't get enough oxygen-rich blood, if you have coronary artery disease, you usually have signs and symptoms of tightening of the chest pains, shortening of breath. If it's completely blocked, of course, it would lead to even more severe symptoms, like a heart attack. So coronary artery disease, it usually develops over time, really decades. It takes a really long time. So that's the good news about coronary artery disease. So like I said, if you have any of those lifestyles that we talked about, it would be important to talk to your physician, maybe about making an appointment with a cardiologist to monitor you. Symptoms may go unnoticed until a significant blockage or complete blockage. So it's important, like that early detection or lifestyle change. And then, like I said, that chest pain, angina is another one that some people, you know, whichever one, you may feel pressure or tightening in your chest. Some people say it feels like someone is standing on their chest. The chest pain usually occurs in the middle of the left of the chest. Activity or strong emotions can trigger angina. The pain usually goes away within minutes after the triggered event. And in some people, especially women, the pain may be brief or sharp and felt in the neck or arms or back. And then, like I said, that shortening of the breath, it's not just like you or just all of a sudden feel like you can't breathe. You may feel like you can't catch your breath, if that makes sense. You may also with a coronary artery disease, another warning sign is fatigue. Because if you think about it, the heart can't pump enough blood to meet your body's needs. You may feel like unusually tired, and it's something that is not a usual tired. We all have our days and you go, oh, I'm so tired, but this is beyond tired, if that makes sense. And then, of course, it could lead to a heart attack where it then becomes completely blocked and cause that. So the classic signs and symptoms of heart attack will go over as well in just a minute. So early detection, y'all, it is so key with any of these heart issues. If one or more applies to you, talk to your doctor about screening. So if you're a smoker or were a heavy smoker, high blood pressure, and y'all, you can get those blood pressure cuffs now where you can push a button and it will literally do it all for you. So you don't have to be a healthcare professional. And I noticed on Amazon, you can get them fairly reasonable. I want to say I found one for $30. So if you have any risk factors, like I will say my genetics stinks. I have high cholesterol, had it since I was 20. And looking at me, people are like, what? You're so thin. So it's hereditary. And then I have that heart disease on top of that in my family. So that triggered my doctor. He does watch me more closely. It might be something to have that blood pressure cuff if you do have high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, or a strong history. So another one we're going to talk about is stroke. It is high blood pressure, excuse me, is the single most important treatable risk factor for a stroke. Okay, did y'all hear that? I'm going to say that one more time. High blood pressure is the single most important treatable risk factor for a stroke. High blood pressure can be preventable, right? With medication, diet, we'll go over all of that, but it is something that can be controlled. Preventing, diagnosing, and controlling through lifestyle changes and medicine are critical to reducing stroke factors. Y'all, stroke kills nearly 150,000 to 860,000 Americans will have it, who die of cardiovascular disease each year. That's 1 in every 19 deaths from all causes. So it is preventable. And stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the United States. It is a serious long-term disability. If you've had a stroke, it can be 80% of strokes are preventable. Like I said, you can greatly reduce your risk for stroke by making lifestyle changes to help control the blood pressure, the cholesterol, in some cases, like medication, but again, it's you working with your physician. So some stroke, sometimes called a brain attack, happens in one way or two. One is when the blood supply to the brain is blocked, and the other is when a blood vessel in the brain bursts. So a stroke, sometimes called, like I said, a brain attack. Blocked arteries occur when a blood or a blood clot blocks the blood flow in an artery within the brain. And then, of course, like I said, the ruptured artery stroke occurs when the blood vessel bursts within the brain. Age, ethnicity, lifestyle, drinking too much, lack of exercise, tobacco use, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, it can, like I said, increase your risk. So what are the warning signs? You're like, Kim, you're kind of scaring me. What are the warning signs? And I did this talk last year at a senior living community, and a lady came up to me right after and said she had all these symptoms the other day and did let her daughter know, but they didn't call the doctor. So we called the doctor immediately. She ended up having TIAs. It wasn't a full out stroke, but it was her body warning her that she was in line for a major stroke. So she was able to get into her physician. So y'all, education is everything. If you're on here and you feel like a friend needs to hear this, educate them. So stroke warning signs: sudden dizziness, trouble walking or loss of balance or coordination, sudden trouble seeing in one eye or both, sudden severe headaches with no known cause, sudden numbness of face, arms, or leg, or sudden confusion or trouble understanding others. So are you at risk? Anyone, including children, can have a stroke at any time. Like I said, every year about 800,000 people in the United States have a stroke, and about 1 in 4 of these strokes are reoccurrent. So if you've had a stroke, then you have a higher chance of having a stroke again. So again, we're going to go over all this. So I taught them at the senior living facility. This is the biggest one. It's called FAST. If you can remember any of this, and my grandmother, I'll never forget, this was like 30 years ago. I went to her house. I knocked on the door, and when she opened the door, I looked at her face, and one side of her face was drooping. So I was like, Doris, did you know that your face, like, and she said, no, I never look in the mirror. What's wrong? And I said, we come to the bathroom. Of course, I was young then. Of course, we called my mom and then did the right thing and took her to the doctor. But thank goodness it was a mild stroke. But we asked her to smile and she couldn't. So FAST, look at a one warning sign. I always tell people your brain will lie to you. It will tell you you can do all the crazy things that you know darn well you can't, or it'll even tell you, oh, and my name is Kim. Kim, you're fine. Quit being a baby. Quit being dramatic. Oh, just because you have that headache that's so bad you can't, whatever. But your body will always, if you will listen to it, and I tell people in every talk I do, if you will listen to your body will always tell you the truth, like the face, the drooping. Look in the mirror every day. A, for arm weakness, ask the person to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S, speech difficulty. That was another one that my grandmother had problems. She was slurring. Ask the person to repeat a simple sentence. Are the words slurring? And T, time to call 911 if the person shows any of these signs. Of course, I was very young, not educated. I think I was in high school, and we called mother, and of course she called 911. So thank goodness, I did see a problem. I didn't know about strokes, but I knew something was off. So y'all, FAST, take a picture of this slide. Peripheral artery disease is another one. It is a fatty deposits and calcium builds up in the wall of the arteries. It is like symptoms of that is unexplained leg pain. Usually when walking, pain will increase, and even pain in the buttocks area in your bottom. Pain circumstances, it can occur in the legs and improve with rest, or in the legs while exercising. So also the skin, cool skin, loss of hair on the legs, thinning of the skin on the legs, or even ulcers are some warning signs of this. And again, guess what my risk factors are? It is diabetes, smoking. Are y'all getting a common denominator? If you smoke, you're gonna be mad at me today. And y'all, I did used to smoke in college. I'm gonna admit it. So I'm not preaching. I'm preaching to me as well. So peripheral artery disease, it is very common, more than 3 million US cases per year. It is treatable by a medical professional, requires a medical diagnosis like lab tests or imaging is often required. It can be chronic and last for years and a lifetime. So keep going. Aortic disease. So an aortic disease, an aortic valve disease may be present at birth, congenital heart disease, or it may occur later in life due to other health conditions. It is a valve disease. The valve between the lower left heart chamber, left ventricles, and the main arteries to the body aorta does not work properly, is basically what it is. It affects the blood flow throughout the heart, causes age-related changes to the heart, could be infections, high blood pressure, injury to the heart. Those are some causes that could be. Aortic disease, there are 2 different types. You're like, Kim, this is a lot of information, and we're going to get out of the information, and I apologize for so much information, but if you're like me, I like to know more than less, and then I like to dive deep into, okay, Kim, you've told us about all this, what do we do about it? So just piece me a little bit longer, and then we'll get into the fun part. So aortic valve Two different kinds. One is the flap of the aortic valve becomes thick and stiff. It causes the valve to narrow, and the narrowing valve reduces or block blood from flowing from the heart to the rest of the body. And then the other one is the aortic valve doesn't close like it should, causing blood to flow backwards into the left lower heart chamber. So symptoms, swishing or swishing, that heart sound, a heart murmur. Chest pains are like tightening in the chest, dizziness, fainting, fatigue after activity or having less ability to be active, an irregular heartbeat, shortness of breath, particularly during like heavy exercise or activities, or even when laying down. Not eating enough, mainly in children with aortic valve stenosis. Not gaining enough weight, again, that's mainly in children with aortic valve stenosis. So, arteries. So what is a myocardial infarction? It is a heart attack. So if you've heard that, that is what that is. It is where the blocked coronary artery, the heart muscle, affected for lack of blood supply. So a heart attack usually occurs when a blood clot blocks blood flow to the heart. Without blood, tissue loses oxygen and it dies, which the tissue, the muscle. A heart attack, medically known as a myocardial infarction, is deadly, and it is a medical emergency where your heart muscle begins to die. And the same with the stroke and any of these, the faster you can get someone to the hospital or identify and get yourself to the hospital, the better the outcome is, because that heart muscle, it begins to die. A blockage in the arteries that supplies blood to your heart usually causes this. If a healthcare provider doesn't restore blood flow quickly, a heart attack can cause permanent heart damage and even death. So not trying to scare y'all on any of this, but that's why I said fast. The last one is call 911. Again, here's just another picture of it could be plaque buildup you see in the little chunky parts on the right-hand side, and you can see a blood clot on the other. So lack of blood flow to your heart muscle is a heart attack. The lack of blood flow can occur because of many different factors, like I said, and without that blood flow, the muscle, it's just so important to seek help immediately. So what are the warning signs of this? So pain, numbness, and tingling in the shoulders, arms, necks, jaws, or back. Shortness of breath when active or at rest or when laying flat. So you've adjusted yourself, you're resting, and then now you're laying flat and you're still having issues. Okay. So chest pains during physical activity that gets better when you rest. Lightheadedness, dizziness, confusion, headaches, cold sweats, nausea, vomiting, tiredness or fatigue, swelling in the ankles, feet, legs, stomach, and or neck, reduced ability to exercise or be physical, problems doing normal activity. Okay, is there a common denominator in any of these things that I'm talking about? The warning signs is your body talking to you. Please don't let your head go, oh, you're fine. It's probably nothing. You're just stressed, whatever. Y'all, if you have any of these, so I had a family member, fun story for them, not at all. I'm being very sarcastic, but I had a family member fly out on a plane, the worst that you could have happen, a nightmare. And in the middle of the flight, he said that all of a sudden, it just hit all at once and his arms went numb, and he said it felt like somebody grabbed the back of his neck and jerked him back. And then all of a sudden he started dry heaving, and he immediately grabbed the lady next to him and he said, get an airline stewardess. And they were able to find a doctor on the plane. Somebody actually even had a nitroglycerin tablet put underneath his tongue. And of course they called 911 from the plane, and lovely enough, he had to be escorted off the plane. And he makes it a joke, but it saved his life. The quick actions of knowing, never had heart issues before, didn't even know he had high blood pressure. It ended up not being a heart attack well, I'm sorry. It was unconcurred because of the nitroglycerin tablet. By the time they got him to the hospital, there's a certain enzyme that they test for that wasn't showing elevated to show he had a heart attack. But later they found that it was a very mild heart attack. But it was quick actions, how fast. And they were going to divert the plane, but they found that they were only 20 minutes out from anywhere, and that's where they were going. So they were able to get him to a hospital fast. They were able to treat him fast. So not to scare you, but it's no joke. So let's just say it happened. Worst case scenario, it happened. It is what it is. It stinks, but it did. After a heart attack, have you ever heard the saying, serious as a heart attack? Understand the size of the muscle that was affected and how quickly you or a loved one or family member or a friend was treated. What was the effects of it? Make a commitment to healthy living and set your goals. Take time to process. It is very traumatic. And some people come away, especially with severe heart attacks, with major emotional distress. Join a community support group. It can help you a lot too, especially if your lifestyle stunk. You weren't eating, you're like my husband eating mashed potatoes and gravy and macaroni and cheese and doesn't eat vegetables. To have a support group, to really talk about it and the importance of not only physician medications, but lifestyle. Doctor's orders are key. Cardiac rehab, if you've had that, a lot of times they'll send you to that. If you live anywhere where they have that, I would say definitely ask for the cardiac rehab. Most physicians will order it. Lifestyle change and diet. So again, after a heart attack, talk to your doctor and come up with a plan that is right for you based on your current health. Y'all, I even say fake it. Don't even wait till after a heart attack. All these things I'm saying are something that we all need to be doing. Like, I talked to a cardiologist, and we're going to talk about healthy eating. We're going to go through all of that. But I talked to a cardiologist one time and I said, okay, shouldn't we all be coming up with a plan based on our health? Or maybe we don't have health conditions. Shouldn't we all be looking at our diet, exercise, stress levels? And then shouldn't we all be coming up with a corrected plan? And he started laughing. He said, absolutely. And I'm like, okay, so don't even look after a heart attack. We should all be doing this. Go over your medications that could raise your blood pressure and have a plan of action. This family member was on ADHD medications, which raised his high blood pressure. And he did look at some other medications that the side effects do raise blood pressure. He had very high blood pressure that they found. And so he had to come off some of those medications and they had to adjust them. Have a blood pressure cuff and monitor your heart rate every day. I will tell you that family member that I'm talking about did have a red face at times, and I did say something, and he did brush it off, saying that blood pressure cuff was messed up because there's no way, which eventually we found out that was not true. Make sure you're getting enough fluids. Y'all, if you don't have enough fluids, your blood's made up of 90% water, right? So if you don't have enough fluids in your body to have volume for your blood to pump, then it can damage your heart. Healthy living plans. What else? So cardiac rehab. That is something that the doctor, the physician, based on the heart attack, based on what your needs are, may prescribe you to this. So exercise counseling and training. It's education, not just on exercise and training, but healthy living and counseling for stress reduction. And y'all, it can't change the past, but it can help change the pattern. So hopefully you won't be in a higher risk to have a heart attack again, or stroke, or be in a risk at all to have these. Set goals with the team on 3 things. So exercise, of course, we know that's important. Education is important for healthier living, like if you're smoking or a heavy smoker, to quit smoking. Eating right, stress reduction, like we talked about. Ways to prevent another heart attack. And the cardiac rehab team, they'll partner with the doctors, the nurse, the pharmacist, and family and friends to take charge of the choices, your lifestyle habits, So it works together like not only a physical therapist, but a nutritionist and other experts come along with it. So it's really cool. Most programs last about 3 months, and many insurers will pay for it if you're eligible. So one could experience after, like I said, some people, it really affects their brain after a heart attack or a stroke or a heart condition, and lead to depression, anxiety, and even PTSD. So they could experience fear, confusion, worry, angry, loneliness, stress, feeling down, depressed. So, y'all, believe it or not, there is a link between mental health and depression after a heart attack. And one of the biggest consequences of a heart attack is the toll it can take on your mental health. Again, I'm gonna go back to my hospice days. I had a sweet patient, and he wasn't on for heart attack. He had renal failure, but he had a heart attack. And his partner was not being very nice about. He was having a lot of emotional issues and not really getting that strong support system from his significant other. And it was very important. And we did have to talk about that because it did lead to him having severe depression. And y'all, the risks are 3 times higher after a heart attack compared to regular. And more than 25% of people may have anxiety. I mean, I don't know that after a heart attack, I wouldn't be anxious. Very traumatic event, and 12% of people who survive will have PTSD. So it's not something to brush off and go, oh my gosh, quit being a baby, put on your big boy pants and big girl pants. This is serious. So if you're having any of these, seek your healthcare professionals. There are plans, programs, everything out there for you. So mental health. So after a heart attack or stroke, your team can help you find a psychiatrist if you need help with one. Y'all, it's not showing sign of weakness. I know when I was younger, my parents' generation and before them were like, oh, that's showing signs of weakness, just, but sometimes if it lasts more than 2 weeks and you're having a hard time in everyday life, it is time to see a physician. They can help you find a program locally or through the American Heart Association. If you don't want to be in person, there are virtual support groups where you can, where a care team can work with you to get help. So they even have virtual classes now. So one good thing COVID did was for people who didn't, maybe more introverted or not do well in group settings, for that virtual support groups, that has helped tremendously, like what we're doing today. And remember, this can happen. And it's not something to be embarrassed by at all. So now we're going to get into the fun stuff, or I call the fun stuff, or out of the clinical. And now we're going to talk about what does it all look like, Kim? So lifestyle changes. So stress relief. Y'all, when you're stressed out, did you know your blood vessels actually react to your stress and they restrict? What are some ways you can reduce stress? So exercise. So I'll tell you another story. So I had a family member that was so just could not handle stress well, could not, the coping skill, it was just bigger than them. Okay, which is fine. Some people can't, and it's not our place to judge. Okay. So this family member went to the doctor. He felt that it was so severe that she needed to add some medications. And so she did. Well, she had major side effects to those medications. So finally, after all the doctor visits she went to, he wrote a script and it said exercise. She's like, exercise? I need a quick fix. And he's like, this is it. Exercise, y'all. She had a follow-up in a month, a new person, was able to cope. So sometimes it's not medication. Sometimes it's exercise. Sometimes it is medication in combination with exercise. Taking those mental health days, y'all, I don't care if you work or not. Mental health days are so important. If you're a caregiver for someone with a chronic disease, when I was in hospice, we saw that the caregivers sometimes went down faster than our patients did. You have to take these mental health days. And there are days when you go, okay, I can't do today. I'm gonna have to modify today. And sometimes it's getting a professional caregiver in the home to assist you for that day. It's okay, or a family member or a church member or someone to help you. or if you work and it's just too much, they have mental health days built into your and whether they want to tell you that or not, those are called sick days. They are for sickness and mental health. Y'all, proper sleep and diet, meditations, and we'll go through some more. So relaxation techniques. So stress floods body with stress hormones and adrenaline. So your body does react to stress and actually causes adrenaline, which is that fight or flight. Have you ever been so scared you could run, you feel like, or you could pick up a car? That is adrenaline. So stress activates that. So activating that parasystemic nervous system through certain practices can help calm the body, like meditation, either deep or they have those on YouTube, by the way. You can look those up, just like a Zoom, and watch a video and they'll actually do it with you. There's breathing, visualization techniques, progressive relaxation, muscle techniques, and then the 4-7-8 breathing. So meditation is exactly what it is. Some people listen to music, some people listen to a meditation where it talks to you. There's all different kinds. You can look them up. Breathing and visualization, that's that one of them that I know of is called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And it's basically where you breathe through your nose, a count of 4. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, breathing slowly in. You would hold the breath for 7 seconds, and then you would slowly breathe out your mouth for 8. And they say to do this 4 to 5 times, and it can really relax you. It can also help you if you don't go to sleep well at night. It can help relax you enough to where you're sleepy. The progressive muscle relaxation, this is one that if you do it and do it well, you can actually learn your body. And I love this one because you can start at your toes. You take your foot and you kind of tense it for 4 to 5 seconds and then release. You go up to your ankles, you tense those muscles. So the key is you're concentrating on doing that, and then you relax it and you work your way up in every single muscle group all the way to the tip top of your head. And people that actually do this, I've actually never done this one. I love the breathing technique. It's fast, it's easy. I don't have time. My friends make fun of me because they say I'm running in and out of everything. But the progressive muscle relaxation, I will tell you that the people that do it say it is phenomenal, and it actually helps them get in tune with their body, like to listen to it, like what we talked about. Proper sleep. Y'all, this is another one. They're learning with dementia. They're doing all these studies now, not just with heart health and everything else, but they're actually found that we've got this little vacuum cleaner system in our brain. And when we don't have proper sleep, that vacuum's not working to suck out all the toxins out of your brain. And they're linking it with Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's not just for heart health, it's for brain health, it's for everyday health. So, well, you're like, Kim, I have this problem. What do I do? So develop a nighttime routine. That means your circadian rhythm, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. I know it stinks, but it's true. Making sure that the proper sleep environment. So please don't have a TV in your room. It to be the place where you eat your dinners. Please make your den and your living room exactly what it is in your bedroom for sleeping. Practice bedtime restrictions, unplug that TV. Y'all, the TV, the phone, all of that has these blue lights in them, and that actually stimulates your brain. So if you're playing bubble pop to make you go to sleep, it's actually doing the opposite. Avoid alcohol and caffeine. Actually, alcohol is a stimulant. So in a typical week, how many nights do you experience poor sleep? Think about that. In what ways have you noticed poor sleep affecting you mentally and physically? Have you ever had poor sleep to where you feel like you can't even think or process, or physically you're like, oh my gosh, I think I almost fell? How does poor sleep impact the areas of your life like relationships, hobbies, work, mood? I can tell you this. When I have not had enough sleep, my husband refers to me as Satan and says, I am not a nice person, and I'm not. I am one of those people, I have to have a lot of sleep, and if I don't get it, it does affect. So it not only affects my health, but it also affects my mood. It it definitely messes with my relationships. And I don't want to do anything like hobbies or especially physical activity. So exercise age 65 and older, they suggest that we do 20.5 minutes a day, 7 days a week. Sorry, y'all. So if you're retired, you can't be retired on exercise. Exercise is great for mood. Like I said, the stress management, it helps with circulation, with our blood, pumping that blood. It helps with everything. Walking, yoga, swimming, biking. If you're exercising to where you can't talk though, then listen and adjust. So it needs to be to where you can talk. You don't need to be exercising where you can't breathe. And the goal is to keep the heart pumping safely. So especially after a heart attack, you need to talk with your physician, or if you have heart issues, that low impact stress reliever. And then the doctor will talk to you about modifying exercises. Did you know that beforehand it can cut your chances of having a heart attack in half if you are walking, exercise, and doing what you're supposed to do? But again, the doctor is the person who you need to come up with the exercise plan with. And especially if you've had a heart attack, it should be 3 to 4 minute walking, rest for 2 minutes, then go another short distance, and then build your way up to that 20.5. Or if you want to show out, like most cardiac doctors will tell you 30 minutes a day of brisk walking, but you have to work yourself up. And then diet choices. That again is going to be between you and your doctor. Please don't play your doctor. I play one on TV, I tell people, but in the end, it never works out well when I'm the doctor. So your doctor, if you've ever been to a lung specialist, you've ever been to a heart specialist, you've ever been to a kidney specialist, all the specialists, they all say the same thing. It's the Mediterranean diet and DASH diet. But there's also the vegan and vegetarian, a flexitarian diet, TLC diet, and low carb. So talk to your doctor about that. So with the Mediterranean diet, it is a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. I hate that they call these things diets. And the goal is to promote weight loss, but really it's to promote heart health, brain health, cancer prevention and maintenance of diabetes. So it's not just for the heart. So of course you can see up there now, my family member that just went to the cardiologist, the one I told you about from the plane, they said no red meats. He said twice a year. And he was like, wait, did you say twice a week? And he said, no, I said twice a year. So, but the Mediterranean diet, look how small it has sweets and meats at the top. Of course, it gets a little bit bigger with poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt. And of course, the fish and seafood they recommend. Of course, shrimp has cholesterol, but anyway, talk to your doctor about what he wants. I think I've got it on a time thing. Fruits, vegetables, grains, whole grains, olive oils, beans, nuts, legumes, seeds, herbs, and spices, and using those spices in as your salt, because it's low sodium as well. And then DASH diet, this is the one he actually talked about for my family member. It is a lifestyle change too. It is promoted by the US-based National Heart, Lung, Blood Institute and a part of the NIH and the USDA. So the goal approach to prevent and stop hypertension. So it does concentrate, it is the number 2 best diet, if you want to look up diets. Again, I hate that it says diet. Y'all, I'm so sorry it's timed and I can't fix it right now. So I'll have to keep clicking. Concentrating on fresh fruits and vegetables. This is the little thing if y'all want to take a picture of it. 6 to 8 servings per day of whole grains, 4 to 5 servings per day of vegetables, 4 to 5 servings a day of fruits, 2 to 3 days low dairy, 4 to 5 servings per week of seeds, nuts, legumes, and less than 6 servings of lean meats, poultry, and fish. Less than 5 servings per week of sweets, and 2 to 3 of fats and oils. So to me, it's like the Mediterranean diet. They do say that it's a lower salt intake with the for the hypertension. Goodness, it's trying to change on me. And it is something that you need to talk to your doctor about. I think it's like 1,500, which I think 2,300 milligrams, like a teaspoon of salt a day, and they even say less than that. So the vegan vegetarian, of course, that's another one. The goal is to promote overall health, lower rate of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and to live longer. It is a marriage between being flexible with vegetables, but encourages you to make good choices with vegetables. And also, I will tell you, with the vegan and vegetarian, there are different forms of vegetarian where some you can have. Like the lacto-ovo vegetarian, no meats, poultry, seafood, or other meat products, but they will eat eggs and dairy products. With the lacto-vegetarian, it is no meats, no poultry, fish, other meats, products, or eggs, but they will eat dairy products. And then there's the pescatarian that I could keep going. So look this up. Again, we're going to talk to your doctor. It is omitting, it is mostly veggies, fruits, nuts, extra olive oil, virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, and other nut oils. But again, it's something that you're going to talk with your physician about. We're actually in our household doing the DASH diet, or I call it the DASH lifestyle change. There is a flexibility diet. It cracks me up because it's basically vegetarian way of eating. But if you want the meat, like if you're craving it and it's been a month and you want a piece of meat, then you have a piece of meat. So it's kind of gives you a way out if you accidentally fudge. Veggies have a lot of water in them, so you feel full longer. So they look at the more like the leafy green vegetables, kale, seaweed, spinach, watercress, chards, and collard greens. They try to have you incorporate that in everyday meals to increase like muscular flexibility because they're high in water. So, sorry, it's doing it again. It keeps changing. And there are a lot of recipes. And again, talk to your physician. I'm just giving you a quick overview. Another one is a TLC diet. It's a therapeutic lifestyle change, and it is the goal to cut cholesterol from your diets. They focus big on veggies, fruits, breads, cereals, pastas, and lean meats. It is the number 5 diet. It is created by the National Institute of Health for lowering the cholesterol. The pros are healthy heart, not a fad diet. It's government endorsed. You're on your own. You must decide, but the bad part is you have to decode nutritional labels. So again, that's another one. And then the low carb diet. So examples of low carb is like those. And then of course it is what it is. It's low carb. I'm running out of time, so I'm going faster. Hydration. This is the biggest one I want to talk about. Did you know your heart constantly is pumping blood, about 2,000 gallons of blood a day? Y'all, have you ever mopped with a gallon bucket? I have. I do it every week. I can't imagine 2,000 gallons. So by staying hydrated, you're helping your heart do its job. And then this just says what women should drink as far as water, and men. But again, I say you need to talk to your doctor because they know all your different disease processes. They know what you need. But I will tell you, it's sipping the water throughout the day. If you guzzle the water, your kidneys will start pumping faster, trying to get the fluid out of the body and not realizing you're trying to hydrate yourself. And so it'll actually dehydrate you. So sip the water. Start early in the morning and then work your way up. And then lastly, recap. It's never too late to start a heart healthy lifestyle change. And I say do it beforehand. We should all be doing this. And your doctor is your best resource. If you don't feel that your physician and you are a team, find another one. There are plenty of fabulous doctors out there. Y'all, you are what you eat, so eat well. Know you're not alone. Keep good mental health or seek a professional. And then again, like I said, it says 20.5 at 65 and older, but any heart doctor will tell you exercise 30 minutes a day or 150 minutes a week if you've had a heart attack, and then go slow. And please, y'all, don't be your doctor. Let your doctor be your doctor. You're like, my gosh, is she going to say that one more time? But it's true. You have to let your doctor be your doctor. Does anybody have anything that they want to share or ask on the chat box or anything? No? Okay, well, thank you so much. And my name is Kim. I'm with Right at Home. If you ever need to get in touch with me, I am Kim at rahbhm.com. I would love to help you answer any questions. I just put it in the chat box. We do have caregivers. I would love to talk to you about our new VA program where we're doing home care at no cost to the veteran. If you need any resources or anything at all, please let me know. I would love to help you navigate through the healthcare maze if I can.